Discover how a barefoot girl's first day turned life-changing thanks to an unexpected billionaire. Lily stood at the gates of St. Augustine's Academy, her bare feet digging into the gravel. A thrill of excitement coursed through her veins, but it mixed with an ache of anxiety like the flutter of trapped butterflies in her stomach. Today was her chance to break free from the constraints of her tiny Midwestern town. This prestigious school, with its towering brick walls and manicured lawns, was a world away from the dust and hustle of home. Yet, standing there, she felt the weight of her family's hopes pressing down on her shoulders. As she crossed the threshold, the sound of laughter and chatter filled the air like a cacophony of privilege. Immediate whispers followed her. "Look at that girl, barefoot," one snickered, sending ripples of laughter through the crowd. A knot tightened in her chest. With each mocking glance, it became harder to breathe, to keep the dream alive. Those glaring eyes were like icy shards cutting through the warmth of her spirit. Classes passed in a blur, her every move scrutinized. The lavish surroundings felt foreign, the students draped in designer clothes moving like a parade of wealth in stark contrast to her threadbare jeans and homemade top. The cafeteria buzzed with the chatter of wealth and entitlement while she sat alone, pushing her food around the plate. She could almost feel their judgment swirling in the air like a tempest around her, pulling her deeper into isolation. At lunch, while snippets of conversation drifted towards her ears, one comment pierced her heart: "She doesn't belong here." It was a soft murmur, but it knocked the air from her lungs. She wanted to scream that she was more than a simple girl from a working-class family, but the words stuck in her throat. The air felt heavier, the isolation more profound. Then, across the cafeteria, she noticed a tall man in a tailored suit, Mr. Thompson, a local billionaire known for his quiet demeanor. He observed Lily from afar, his eyes flickering with curiosity and concern. It was odd for someone of his status to look her way, yet there was something familiar in the way he studied her, like he too had fought against judgment. Intrigued by her fierce spirit, he decided to intervene. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Lily headed home, wrestling with her thoughts. Her family's discussions echoed in her mind. You have to remember where you came from. Not everyone is meant for that world. Their fears seeped into her heart, igniting a battle between loyalty and ambition. Could she bear the cost of pursuing her dreams? Just as hope began to sparkle, it was dimmed by a shocking turn of events, a family crisis that sent her spiraling, forcing her to face who she truly was. As Lily stood at this pivotal crossroads, the weight of judgment and expectation loomed over her. Would she rise above the trials or allow them to crush her? The murmurs echoed like distant thunder, daring her to reclaim her worth in a world that sought to define it for her. Could she find the strength to fight against the tides and forge her own identity? The questions hung thick in the air, setting the stage for a journey of resilience and self-discovery. As Lily lay in bed that night, the moonlight streamed through her window, casting silver patterns on the walls. She hugged her worn-out teddy bear tightly, seeking comfort in its familiarity. The day had been a whirlwind of emotions: excitement, embarrassment, and a deep yearning for acceptance. Doubts clouded her mind like an impending storm. Would she ever fit in? Would they ever see her for more than the girl without shoes? The echoes of laughter and sneers replayed in her thoughts, making her heart race. In that moment, she felt more alone than ever, overshadowed by the gilded lives of her peers. Sleep eluded her, she was awake, swirling in a sea of discontent and uncertainty. But amid that turmoil, one singular thought shimmered with hope: Mr. Thompson. His gaze had held a compassion she'd never expected to find in a place like St. Augustine's Academy. Suddenly, she recalled the kindness in his eyes, a lighthouse in a foggy night. What if she reached out to him? Despite their differences in status, maybe he could be the bridge to her acceptance and success. But how? Was it foolish to think someone like him could help someone like her? The next morning, equipped with newfound determination, Lily pulled on her favorite sweater and worked up the nerve to speak to him. Just before heading to school, she found the handwritten note she'd tucked away the night before. On it, she had scribbled her thoughts, her dreams, and her fears. It felt daunting, raw, but it also felt necessary. When she arrived at school, the air buzzed with chatter, but Lily calmly navigated through the chaos, her heart thudding in her chest. Classes came and went, and she fought off the whispers and sidelong glances. It was time for lunch, a moment she usually dreaded. Today, however, was different. She spied Mr. Thompson again, sitting alone at a small table near the window. Gathering every ounce of courage, she approached him. Her palms were sweaty, and her heart raced as if it were trying to escape. "Excuse me, Mr. Thompson," she finally stuttered. He looked up with surprise, his brow lifting slightly. "Yes, how can I help you?" The sincerity in his voice drove her boldness. I just wanted to thank you for looking out for me yesterday. It meant a lot." He smiled, the warmth in his expression melting away the tension. "I noticed you were having a tough start. It's hard to step into a new world. I've been there." Lily's heart swelled. "Can I talk to you? I'd love to hear more about your experience. I feel lost." "Of course," he replied, gesturing to the chair opposite him. "Sit down." As she settled in, words poured from her ambitions, her struggles, her hopes. Time slipped away, and the lunch period faded into the background. Mr. Thompson listened intently, offering not just sympathy, but genuine advice. "Every journey has its bumps," he said. "It's how you choose to navigate them that defines your path." His words sparked something within her, a fire she had thought extinguished. This man, with his incredible success, had faced battles of his own. But just as hope sparked, a loud commotion interrupted their moment. A group of students from her class burst in, their laughter cutting through the air like a knife. One of them spotted her sitting with Mr. Thompson and called out in mock excitement, "Look who's here on a lunch date." The laughter crescendoed, and Lily's face ignited with embarrassment. In that moment, sensing her discomfort, Mr. Thompson placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Remember, Lily, your worth isn't defined by others. You are stronger than you think." As the insults ricocheted off the walls, Lily's heart raced. She realized this was more than just about fitting in, this was about standing her ground. What would she choose? Embrace the fear or rise above it? As the cafeteria buzzed with smirks and whispers, Lily took a deep breath, ready to face the storm of judgment head-on. It was time to reclaim her voice and her spirit. Would the bravery she found that day be enough to change the narrative they had written for her? Could she carve her own identity in a world that sought to label her? With her heart pounding in defiance, the next moment would be crucial. But as she prepared to respond, a figure stepped in, unexpected and commanding. A new challenger had arrived. The cafeteria door swung open wider, and all eyes shifted to the newcomer. Tall and confident, he strode in like someone who commanded a presence. A dark blazer contrasted sharply with the casualness of the students, many of whom wore faded jeans and t-shirts. His hair, perfectly styled, only added to the feeling that he was from a different world altogether. Lily's heart skipped a beat. Who was he? And why was he here? The murmurs in the room shifted from whispering about her to speculating about this man. A wave of curiosity washed over the cafeteria, cutting through the tension like a knife through butter. "Hey, Lily!" The stranger called out, pointing right at her. "Mind if I join you?" Everyone froze, the air thick with disbelief. He knew her name. The whispers dwindled into stunned silence, and for a moment, the laughter ceased. When she didn't respond, he took a few steps closer, his gaze unwavering. "Of course, you don't mind," he continued, flashing a charismatic smile. "I've heard a lot about you." Lily could barely process what was happening. With one swift movement, he pulled out a chair and sat down across from her and Mr. Thompson. "What a lively crowd we have here." he remarked, scanning the cafeteria with an amused expression that revealed he was unfazed by the scrutiny. "Who are you?" one of the bold classmates finally asked, breaking the spell. "Name's Hunter Steele," he replied casually, his voice rich and confident. "I happen to be the new sponsor of the school's charity initiative." The statement filled the room with renewed curiosity. Lily felt Mr. Thompson's hand leave her shoulder, and she looked up to see him regarding Hunter. There was something flickering in Mr. Thompson's eyes, surprise, perhaps wariness? But it vanished quickly as Mr. Thompson resumed his easy demeanor. "You're the billionaire?" Another voice chimed in, incredulous. "Guilty as charged," Hunter said, a playful grin tugging at his lips. "But don't let it fool you. I'm just here to give back. Who knows? Maybe Lily could use a little help." The cafeteria erupted in renewed whispers and furtive glances. "Help?" Lily felt a flush of heat creep up her neck. Hunter's gaze turned to her, and for the first time, she didn't see the girl without shoes or the target of mockery. Instead, she felt seen. "Help?" she echoed, barely able to voice her thoughts. "Yes, help with your dreams. I hear you've got your heart set on bigger things than what anyone here can imagine." His words were smooth, spilling out with effortless charm. The swirl of embarrassment began to break, replaced by a hint of anticipation. She thought of all the dreams she'd shared with Mr. Thompson, the art classes, the college applications, the life she wanted. For a moment, everything felt possible. What's the catch? She found herself asking, skepticism creeping in. "Life isn't all about catch and release, you know," Hunter replied, leaning forward slightly. "Sometimes it's about grasping opportunities. I can help you, but it's up to you to seize it." As the cafeteria buzzed with different opinions about Hunter's offer, Lily felt her internal battle reignite. Was this a way out or merely a means to an end in the eyes of others? Mr. Thompson's reassuring presence stood behind her like a guardian angel. Then, as if sensing her turmoil, he spoke again softly, "You have the power to choose, Lily. Don't let fear decide for you." In that moment, everything shifted. The narrative that had been written for her just might unravel and be rewritten with her own hand. But a flicker of doubt lingered. What price would come with his help? As she grappled with her thoughts, Hunter leaned back, crossing his arms, eyes glimmering with challenge. "So, Lily, what'll it be? Are you ready to step into your story?" The question hung in the air, pregnant with possibilities. Would she take the chance? Would stepping into a new world bring her closer to who she was meant to be? Before she could answer, the cafeteria doors swung open again, and yet another figure emerged, their intentions cloaked in mystery. The door creaked on its hinges, pulling everyone's attention once more. A girl stepped inside, a whirlwind of curls and attitude. Her dark skin glowed under the cafeteria lights, and her confident demeanor seemed to challenge the very atmosphere. "Jade!" A few students called out, and the chatter resumed, brushing aside Hunter's entrance like yesterday's news. Jade had a strong reputation. She was the girl who never backed down, one of the few who stood up against the tide of whispers that often swept through the hallways. Lily's heart raced. What was Jade doing here? The cafeteria felt like the epicenter of some grand debate, with flames from both sides flaring unexpectedly. "Lily." Jade's fiery gaze zeroed in on her. "Word on the street is you've got a celebrity at your table," she remarked with a smirk, nodding toward Hunter. "What's the latest? You moving on up?" As a matter of fact, Lily started, hesitating. She was about to share her burgeoning excitement but faltered, caught in the glare from Jade's piercing eyes. Hunter watched the exchange, unruffled yet intrigued. "I was just offering Lily an opportunity," he remarked, his tone insouciant, but there was an underlying thread of challenge woven in. "Opportunity?" Jade echoed, an eyebrow raised. "Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it?" She stepped closer, her stance reflecting curiosity laced with skepticism. Hunter straightened, locking eyes with Jade, their immediate chemistry sparking like electricity. "You could say that," he replied, a hint of amusement tugging at his lips. But sometimes, it's the risks that lead to the most rewarding experiences. Jade rolled her eyes, clearly not convinced. Sure, if you don't mind getting burned. Who does this guy think he is? Just waltzing in here, trying to play savior? I'm not playing savior, Hunter countered smoothly. He gestured toward Lily, a gentle smile creeping across his face. I'm offering help. She's got dreams worth supporting. And honestly, I think it's about time someone stepped up. The cafeteria buzzed anew, drawn in by this unlikely back and forth. Eyes darted anxiously between Hunter and Jade, each intoxicating minute steeped in tension. Okay, let us say, for a moment, that you do want to help, Jade shot back, her boldness inviting the crowd to lean in closer. What's in it for you? Everyone knows your type. Money and fame come with strings attached. Lily doesn't need that. Every heartbeat felt like a drum, firing through Lily's chest, the fervor leaping from one end of the room to another. Jade was fiercely protective, but was there truth to her words? Jade, listen. Lily's clasped her hands, trying to ground their rising tension. This is my choice. It's not a bad thing to want better. But her voice wavered, and doubt crept in after her declaration. Jade paused, reading the uncertainty that lingered with Lily. I'll back you up if you want it, but know this, not everyone who offers help has the best intentions. Hunter leaned on the table, a look of seriousness flickering over his features. I promise, my intentions are to give, no strings attached. You have my word. In that instant, the cafeteria fell silent. The weight of the decision collided with the swirl of emotions within Lily. She couldn't shake the feeling that stepping forward might shove her headfirst into a world filled with expectations, possibly shattering everything she'd known. Jade flicked her gaze between the two, fiercely protective yet a bit grateful that her friend was being considered. Lily, no one can make this choice for you. What do you really want? As Lily looked at their encircling faces, Jade's fierce loyalty, Hunter's eager confidence, a rush of determination coursed through her. Could she really stand on the brink of something new? Then, the sound of a phone ringing shattered the silence. Jade pulled out her phone, glancing at the screen. This isn't over. She turned her back to grab a seat across the table, clearly unsettled yet refusing to yield completely. Let us figure this out, Hunter said, eyes still fixed on Lily. What do you want? The moment hung between them, heavy with potential. Lily felt the pull of destiny. A choice lay at her feet, but was she ready to leap? Just then, the second figure behind Jade caught her attention, and a swirl of mixed emotions puffed through her. Whoever it was, they seemed to fill the space with unease. Lily's heart raced again, the tension thickening. What secrets did this new arrival hold, and how would they change everything? Lily's breath caught in her throat as she faced the new arrival. The unease wrapped around her like a heavy fog. A tall figure loomed behind Jade, unmistakably confident, but the tension radiating from them sent chills racing down her spine. Mind if I join? The voice was smooth, almost melodic, but there was an edge to it. As the figure stepped into the light, Lily recognized him instantly. It was Adam, the heartthrob sophomore who, along with his crew, always seemed to glide effortlessly through the hallways, followed by an entourage of whispers and admiration. A chill ran through the room, the buzz of conversation stalling, as if everyone were holding their breath. Sure. Jade snapped, clearly annoyed. But not if you're here to gawk at the circus, she added, shooting a fierce glare at Adam. The cafeteria buzzed with whispers again, eyes darted back and forth between the four of them, drinking in this drama like a soap opera. Relax, I'm just here for lunch. Adam shrugged, but the smirk that crept on his face felt anything but innocent. He settled down beside Jade, and it felt like the cafeteria was divided. Their table was suddenly the epicenter of every curious gaze. Lily could feel the hot flush creeping up her face. This isn't a show, Adam, she said, surprising herself with her defiance. We're talking about something important here. Hunter chuckled softly, his smile almost infectious, which only made Lily's heart race more. You heard the girl, he said casually, but a playful challenge sparkled in his eyes as he looked at Adam. "Oh, I'm just here to witness a rising star," Adam replied, his gaze sweeping over Lily with an appraising look that made her skin prickle. "But I'll confess, I haven't seen anyone this animated since they took away our foam fingers at sports games." Lily's gaze wavered momentarily. He was trying to dismiss the moment, perhaps even her. Taking a deep breath, she willed herself to stand strong. "If you're going to talk, at least contribute something worthwhile," she retorted, feeling a fire within her she didn't know she had. The cafeteria murmured, whispers of surprise ricocheted off the walls. Adam raised his eyebrows, clearly taken aback. Jade's expression shifted, admiration evident in her eyes for Lily's sudden assertiveness. "Okay, I see how it is," he said slowly, as if tasting his next words. "You've got fire. But it's hard to swim upstream without the right resources, right?" Lily turned to Hunter, searching for direction. "Do I really have to decide now?" she whispered, panic creeping in. The weight of the moment felt heavy against her chest. Hunter reached out, his hand brushing against hers, sending little sparks of reassurance through her. "You don't have to rush it. But whatever choice you make, own it. That's the most important part." Lily could feel the support from Hunter's presence, yet the stakes seemed to pile higher with every second she hesitated. Maybes and what-ifs spun through her mind. Could she trust Hunter? Would Adam's words keep haunting her even if she chose to step into the unknown? Lils, Adam said casually, leaning toward her, "people like me can help people like you. You might want to reconsider who your allies are." There was an undertone in his voice that sent a shudder through her. Lily felt a cracking sensation deep in her gut, like a glass about to shatter. Jade's previous warnings echoed in her mind. Did she really trust Hunter? Or was Adam just trying to derail her before she could bloom? As the weight of those questions hung in the air, the cafeteria door swung open once more, and a familiar face stepped in. The room fell quiet. Lily's heart sank. It was Mark, the third member of their little trio, looking anxious, as if he were carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. With tension sparking like electricity, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. Would this be the day she finally embraced the unknown, or would she stay shackled by fear? What did Mark have to say, and how would it affect her decision? Lily's eyes locked onto Mark as he navigated the sea of students, his expression betraying a mix of urgency and concern. She felt a surge of hope. He was her anchor, the one who always seemed to know just what to say. But now, with Adam and Jade at the table, everything felt more complicated. Mark reached the table, the weight of silence surrounding him heavier with each passing second. "Hey, can we talk?" His voice was steady, but a hint of desperation colored his words. He glanced at Adam, then back at Lily, as if gauging the situation. "Sure," Lily said, a lump forming in her throat. She wanted to understand what was going on, but the energy in the air felt chaotic. She didn't want to make any rash decisions, especially not with Adam's piercing gaze bearing down on her. Hunter squeezed her hand gently. "I'll be right here," he said, the warmth in his voice a comfort. As she got up and followed Mark to a quieter corner of the cafeteria, a mix of trepidation and anticipation gnawed at her insides. "What is going on?" she asked as soon as they were out of earshot. "You look like you just saw a ghost." Mark ran a hand through his messy hair, his eyes darting around as if checking for eavesdroppers. I'm worried. I overheard something you need to know." The butterflies in Lily's stomach intensified. "What is it?" "It's about Adam," Mark said, lowering his voice. "I heard him talking to his friends earlier today. He's not just interested in you because he likes you, Lily. They might be planning something." "Planning what?" Her heart raced as she considered the implications. Was Adam really dangerous, or was Mark just overreacting? Something to do with the school elections. "They're trying to sway votes, and I think he sees you as a pawn, someone to manipulate," Mark confessed, his voice barely more than a whisper. Lily's heart sank. She didn't want to be part of someone else's game. "But what does that mean for me? Do I just step back?" Let them control my choices? Mark stepped closer, urgency in his tone. No, you have to take charge. Don't let Adam draw you in. If you want to stand up for what you believe in, you have to be ready for a fight. You can't let them decide your future. A part of her understood what Mark was saying, but another part of her hesitated. She felt a deep-rooted fear. What if she stood up and failed? What if she ended up alone in this fight? Mark, I really don't know what to do, she finally admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. What if I make the wrong choice? Lily, listen, he insisted, a fierce determination in his eyes. Owning up to your choices is what makes you brave. Either way, whatever you decide, I'm here for you. As the weight of his words sunk in, the cafeteria din faded into the background. Lily's heart pounded in her chest, the whispers of doubt battling with a newfound resolve. She couldn't let fear define her. Turning back towards their table, she spotted Adam lounging confidently beside Jade, his voice smooth as silk as he shared a joke. Rage tinged with disbelief bubbled in her stomach. What if I don't want to be a pawn? She breathed, more to herself than Mark. Then don't be. Stand out instead. Mark said, his eyes lit with encouragement. With a rush of adrenaline, Lily felt a flicker of light within her, urging her on. Would she truly embrace this looming decision and face Adam head-on? The thought ignited a fire inside her, but before she could voice her resolve, a loud crash reverberated through the cafeteria. Everyone turned. A tray had slid off a table, drawing attention away from her moment of clarity. What was that? She wondered aloud, feeling the urgency twist in her gut once more. In that instant, she realized that outside forces could shift everything in the blink of an eye, and she had to be ready for anything that might come her way. As the cafeteria began to buzz again, Mark placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. So, what will it be? Lily looked back at the tangled web of emotions and choices awaiting her. The stakes had been raised, and the air crackled with possibility. Would she step into her power, or would the moment slip away? With her heart pounding, she took a deep breath, preparing to step back into the fray. The cafeteria buzzed with murmurs, the chaos settling back into a familiar rhythm. But for Lily, everything had shifted. The laughter and chatter around her became muffled, like an echo fading into the background. She felt the weight of Mark's question resting heavily on her shoulders. Could she really take a stand? The question spiraled around in her mind, feeding the doubt that clung like ivy. She stole another glance at Adam. He seemed so at ease, the confident demeanor that had drawn her in earlier now appeared to be a mask hiding something darker. Lily? Mark's voice cut through her thoughts, pulling her back. What are you thinking? In the midst of the noise, she felt a strange calm wash over her. Maybe this was the time to find her voice, to stop being afraid of what could happen. She could wear her heart on her sleeve, face whatever backlash awaited her. She just had to believe in herself. Mark, I think I'm going to confront Adam, she said finally, her voice steadying. A swirl of emotions flickered in Mark's eyes: pride, concern, and a sprinkle of disbelief. Are you sure? He's not going to take it lightly. Maybe not, Lily replied, feeling the adrenaline surging through her. But I can't stand by while he uses me. I want to fight for what's right. The tension in her chest began to unfurl as she turned back toward the table where Adam sat, still basking in his own self-importance. With each step, her heart thumped louder, bolstering her resolve. People glanced over, sensing the change in the air. The world seemed to hold its breath as she approached. Adam. She called, her voice piercing through the conversations. He looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes as the cafeteria quieted down once more. Hey, Lily. What's up? He replied, slick confidence dripping from his words. I need to talk to you. Now. Her gaze was unwavering, refusing to be swayed by his charm. She braced herself for the scoffs of his friends, for the lurking judgment of those around them. What's the drama? Jade piped up, smirking. Just a moment, Jade, Adam said, leaning forward, intrigued. You've got my attention. What's on your mind? Lily inhaled sharply, ready to confront the tidal wave of manipulation he was spinning. I know you're using me in this election. You don't like me. You're just trying to use me to sway votes. I won't let you. Laughter erupted from his table. Oh, come on, Lily. You really think I would waste my energy on you? You're not that important, he shot back, feigning nonchalance, but the shift in his voice spoke of irritation. Then why do you keep trying to get close to me? She snapped, feeling the heat rise in her face. If I'm not important, stop pretending I am. I'm not going to be your pawn. Mark's presence loomed behind her, a pillar of support. She could feel the warmth radiating from him, urging her on. The cafeteria erupted in whispers. This was unexpected. She was challenging the king on his throne. Adam's eyes narrowed, anger mingling with surprise. You have no idea what you're getting into, he threatened, standing up. The distance between them narrowed, the tension thick enough to slice through. But Lily stood her ground. You're right, I don't. But I'm ready to find out. I'd rather risk everything than play your game, she asserted, feeling a rush of liberation. As she glared back, determination settled within her chest like a comforting weight. The moment stretched, each second humming with unspoken challenges. What if she had just ignited a war between them? What if Adam retaliated? A flicker of hope struck through her apprehension. Maybe this was the beginning of her own story, the moment she decided to step out of the shadows. The whispers swirled around, but they didn't penetrate her focus. Let us see how this plays out, she thought, anticipation tingling in her veins. But just as the silence threatened to break, the principal strode in, his sharp gaze absorbing the scene. What is going on here? He demanded. Lily's pulse raced. Would this be the intervention that quashed her courage, or could it turn the tide? And so, as the tension filled the air once again, Lily started to wonder what would happen next. Would she find allies in unexpected places, or would she stand alone against Adam's wrath? The principal's voice boomed through the cafeteria, slicing the tension like a knife. Students shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting between Lily and Adam. The murmurings crescendoed into a dull roar, but Lily felt as if time had frozen. Her heart raced, uncertainty creeping back in. Lily, is there a problem? Mr. Thompson's gaze was sharp, taking in the hostile atmosphere. Lily opened her mouth, battling the urge to back down. Yes. Adam, he's been using me in this election. Gasps rippled across the cafeteria. The air felt electric as the crowd settled further, all eyes darting to Adam. His previously confident demeanor cracked, revealing a flash of vulnerability. Using you? He echoed incredulously, irritation coating his words. That's rich. I'm trying to win. You're just upset because I'm not falling for whatever game you're playing. Mark stepped forward, his assertiveness a firm shield beside her. Lily isn't playing games, Adam. You are. You might have everyone under your thumb, but you can't control her. Lily appreciated Mark's loyalty but felt an inner conflict. Was this truly about Adam's manipulation, or was it also about facing her own fears, about reclaiming her own story? The principal shifted his focus to Adam, who was visibly irked. You know, Adam, it takes integrity to be a leader. What's happening here doesn't look good, Mr. Thompson argued. A flicker of surprise crossed Adam's face. Could he really be pushed back? I'm just trying to rally support, he shot back, but the bravado was slipping. Support built on lies isn't support at all, Lily interjected, feeling a thrill rush through her. Each word strung together with conviction and clarity. I deserve respect, not just as a vote but as someone who has a voice. If you think I'm just a pawn, then you don't know me at all. The cafeteria held its breath. Time seemed to stretch again, hanging on her every word. Enough. Adam snapped. He turned to Mr. Thompson, a mask of calm returning. This is just a misunderstanding. I was just joking around with Lily. She's making a big deal out of nothing. But the laugh, the connection that once seemed easy now felt heavy and false. Lily could sense the shifting tides. She glanced back at Mark, who nodded slightly, giving her strength to pursue her truth. I'm done being afraid of your judgment, Adam. If I need to stand alone, I will. I won't let you control me anymore, she declared, her heart thumping wildly but with a new sense of calmness. The principal glanced around, analyzing the sea of faces each caught up in the moment. Going forward, I expect all of you to treat each other with respect. We don't tolerate bullying or manipulation at this school, he stated firmly, an authority descending upon their little kingdom of chaos. The room erupted into a mix of whispers and murmurs again, but this time, a different kind of energy filled the air. She could feel the gaze of some students shifting from Adam to her, curiosity sparked. Their expressions flickered with admiration. Lily's pulse quickened, a new flame ignited within her. This could be the turning point, the moment that reshaped her identity. What would it mean to truly stand up for herself? Just as victory felt within her grasp, Adam's glare shot daggers through the crowd, the smirk fading from his lips. You think this is over? You just painted a target on your back, he warned, his words dark and promising. Lily took a deep breath, swallowing hard. There was danger lurking, but there was also a thrill, a strange excitement about stepping into the unknown. She turned, heart racing, as the whispers of the crowd washed over her like an uncharted tide. The beginning of a new chapter had begun, but the question loomed heavy in the air. Could she truly handle the consequences of her defiance? Facing the threat of Adam's retaliation stirred something deep in her spirit, making her wonder, what would she discover in the battle ahead? The buzz of the cafeteria lingered in Lily's ears as she stepped away from the center of the storm. Each step felt both freeing and heavy with the weight of what she had just done. Mark fell in beside her, an unspoken understanding passing between them. His strong presence was a lifeline, grounding her as the chaos swirled around them. Wow, you were incredible, Mark said, a bright smile breaking through the tension. I can't believe you stood up to him like that. Lily felt her cheeks warm. I couldn't just stand there and let him treat me like an object, she replied, her voice steady but still tinged with adrenaline. As they moved toward the exit, the cafeteria began to fill with murmurs and whispers, the energy pulsating like a living thing. Some students were nodding in agreement, others were still captivated by the confrontation. But there was a darker side, too. A few eyes remained locked on her, filled with quiet menace, particularly Adam's Lily. A voice called. It was Jenna, rushing toward them with a determined expression. Are you okay? That was wow. I'm fine, Jenna, Lily said, her voice barely concealing the tremor beneath. Just a little shaky. Who knew you had that in you? Jenna grinned, then glanced back at the cafeteria, where Adam was now surrounded by a group of his supporters, huddled with their heads bent low. You took a real stand. Yeah, but at what cost? Lily wondered aloud, feeling a mix of pride and dread. What if Adam's warning held truth? Mark slipped his hand into hers without hesitation, and she felt a swell of courage. You did something brave today. Don't let his threats scare you. They exited the cafeteria into the cool hallway, where Lily leaned against the lockers, trying to calm her racing heart. She took a deep breath, feeling the crisp air refresh her lungs. It feels like I've opened a can of worms. What if this spirals out of control? Then we deal with it together, Mark said firmly. You're not alone in this. Before she could say anything else, the bell rang, sending students scattering to their classes. With a quick hug, Mark dashed away, leaving her standing in the echo of the hallway, alone with her thoughts. But just as she turned to head to her next class, a voice stopped her. Lily. It was Miss Harper, the history teacher, with a clipboard in hand and a concerned look on her face. Can we talk for a minute? Lily's stomach nodded. Sure. Let us step into my classroom, Miss Harper suggested, leading the way. The moment they entered, she closed the door, creating a bubble of privacy away from the bustling hallways. Lily, I heard about what happened in the cafeteria, she began, concern etched on her face. And I wanted to check on you. Standing up for yourself takes courage, but it can also bring unwanted attention. Are you ready for that? Lily felt her resolve waver. I think I am, but I'm scared. Adam's not going to let this go. Miss Harper smiled softly. Fear is normal, but don't forget that many are cheering you on. I'll be here, but you also need to reach out to your friends and keep them close. Maybe they could help me. Lily murmured, a plan slowly taking shape in her mind. Absolutely, Miss Harper replied. You're not just one individual, you're part of a larger community of support. Leaving the classroom, a thought ignited in her mind. She needed to gather allies, voices of support that would amplify her own. But could they really stand against Adam and his followers? As she walked to her next class, determination coursed through her veins, mixing with fear in an exhilarating cocktail. She felt the pulse of change under her skin, a fierce energy ready to take hold. But in the back of her mind, Adam's warning echoed ominously. What lengths would he go to maintain control? What awaited her next in this unexpected journey? The revelation seemed as close as her next breath, but with every heartbeat, uncertainty loomed ahead. Would she discover how to wield her voice in a world that was determined to silence it? Lily stood at the edge of the school courtyard, a warm breeze brushing through her hair. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over everything, over her friends, over the laughter bursting from each classroom window, and over the new chapter that awaited her. After the cafeteria showdown, a strange sense of empowerment washed over her. The adrenaline from standing up to Adam lingered like a comforting rhythm in her veins. She had survived the storm and stood stronger, no longer defined by the judgment around her. Yet, she knew the real battle had only just begun. The next day, she rallied her closest friends, Jenna and Mark, over lunch in a quieter corner of the cafeteria. We need to strategize, she said, the fire in her eyes igniting a spark of enthusiasm in her friends. I want to gather support. It can't just be the three of us. We need a movement. Sounds powerful, Mark nodded, a grin spreading across his face. Who do you have in mind? Jenna chimed in, what about those who cheered you on in the cafeteria? They saw you stand up. They might want to join. With renewed energy, Lily began listing names, scanning the tables for those who whispered admiration. One by one, she called out friends, acquaintances, even those whose eyes had once sparkled with curiosity. She could feel their doubts start to peel away, replaced by an infectious determination. By the end of lunch, they had formed the outline of a plan, a meeting to discuss their vision of empowerment. As they finalized details, laughter erupted across the room. Adam had entered, flanked by his usual entourage, still wearing the mask of confidence. But today, the air was different. It crackled with anticipation, the crowd aware that the dynamics had shifted. Later that afternoon, as if fate had aligned, Lily crossed paths with Mr. Thompson on her way to class. You did well yesterday, he said with genuine warmth. I admire your bravery. The words sank deep into her heart, igniting a spark. Thank you, she replied, a mix of gratitude and newfound bravery. I want to keep this momentum going. I want to help others like me. Mr. Thompson's eyes gleamed with pride. You have an opportunity to inspire. Use your voice wisely. After school, the meeting came alive. Students clustered around her, curiosity burning in their eyes as she shared stories of empowerment and resilience. With every word, doubts turned into shouts of agreement, spirits lifted as they bonded over shared dreams. They weren't just isolated individuals anymore, they were a community, united in purpose, ready to break the chains of expectation. The energy was electric as Lily wrapped up the meeting with her final message: we all have unique stories. Let us support each other and step out of the shadows. Cheers erupted, filling the room with a sense of purpose. Then came the real test. That evening, as Lily scrolled through her phone, she braced herself. Adam's followers had retaliated online, flooding the comments section under a post proclaiming her as the Barefoot Girl. But this time, there was a shift. Support poured in. Her friends defended her fiercely, strangers chimed in with their own stories of overcoming adversity. Comments like, "Keep shining. And your courage is inspiring. Lit up her screen, drowning out the negativity. In that moment, Lily felt the weight of her family's expectations fall away. She was no longer the girl from a small town trying to fit into a world that felt alien. She was crafting her own identity, one built on bravery, community, and shared dreams. Days turned into weeks, and the energy of change engulfed St. Augustine's Academy. The whispers turned to discussions, and Adam's grip began to weaken. He wore his irritation like a badge, but Lily's resolve was stronger than any label thrown her way. Their final confrontation came when the school election arrived. Lily stood as a candidate, supported by her movement, while Adam faced her with his polished campaign team. This time, the buzz in the air was not about wealth or status, it was about authenticity, unity, and strength. As Lily delivered her speech, her words resonated in the hearts of her peers. I'm not just the girl without shoes. I'm a force for change. Together, we define our stories. Cheers erupted around her, drowning any remnants of doubt. Adam tried one last jab. You're just a follower of the latest trend, Lily. No one wants to listen to another sad story. But Lily stood tall. This isn't a trend. This is our truth. And together, we're unstoppable. The crowd roared, and in that moment, they became a force of nature. In the days that followed, they worked together, crafting a community that embraced acceptance, understanding, and hope. Adam's power faded, trapped in the echo of old judgments as Lily's star continued to rise. The world shifted beneath their feet, blossoming into something beautiful. Looking out over the crowd during the election rally, Lily felt a rush of love and purpose. She had become more than just a barefoot girl. She was a leader, a voice that inspired others to reclaim their own stories. As she stepped down from the podium, a wave of emotion washed over her, a mix of gratitude, strength, and a heart full of dreams finally realized. And with that feeling filling every corner of her being, she knew this was just the beginning. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that can inspire your journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the positivity flowing. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters in this community. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support means everything.